In today's video, I solemnly swear to share our best tips and tricks to have the most magical day possible here at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But first, there's one very important thing we gotta take care of. Accio ears. That's better. Let's go do it. Hi-ho everybody, this is Rob with Ear Scouts, and we're coming to you this morning from Universal Orlando Resort for the first of what is probably the most requested video series we've ever had for our channel. We're here at Universal Orlando today to share with you our best tips and tricks to have the most magical Harry Potter day possible. We're decked out. We've got our Harry Potter ears, we've got our Ravenclaw shirt, we're ready to go. I know I'm gonna get questions about this, so I'm gonna answer it right off. These ears I actually found on Etsy from a creator called Fluff Treasure Designs. We'll throw the link to her shop in the description of this video. For right now, let's start talking about the strategy that we're gonna use to get the most done and have the most magical experience today. And my first tip is actually something you needed to choose before you even come to the park. And that is you wanna check the Universal app, look at the hours, and see which park is having early park admission that day. Unlike at Disney World, where all the parks have early entry, here it goes back and forth between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. Although I will say it's almost always going to be over at Islands of Adventure right now because they have the biggest, newest rides that most people want to do in the morning. For today's video, we're not using early entry, we're not using Express Pass, which is their version of Genie Plus here, although here, you don't even have to schedule anything. You just get in that Express Pass lane and go. The trade-off, unfortunately, is it is crazy expensive. So we probably will cover Express Pass in a future video, but today we're not using it. Right now, we're here about 40 minutes before the park is gonna open. Now, this is a pretty sparse crowd. I imagine it looks a lot different on the other side over at Islands of Adventure today, and that's the big reason why we're starting in this park. The most crowds are gonna go where the early entry is, and those folks who have early entry are gonna be ahead of you in line for all of those best attractions. So if you come to the non-early entry park like we're doing today, that means that you're gonna be able to be first in line for the attractions you wanna do. Today's video is all about Harry Potter. Obviously, there's more to do here at Universal Orlando than just Harry Potter, but if you're a big Potter fan like I am, what I recommend doing, consider dedicating one day of your trip to just immerse yourself in this world like we're gonna do today. You're gonna see there is more than enough stuff to fill up your day, and then you can focus on the other attractions that you're interested in this park in your second and or third day if you're here for a few days. In future videos, we'll definitely show you how to have a more traditional day in the park where you do more than just Harry Potter, but for today's video, it is all Harry Potter all day long. A lot of folks here, they're gonna make a mad dash like it is Black Friday at Walmart. The great thing about the strategy I'm gonna show you today, you don't need to be in that big stampede of people. They're all probably headed into Diagon Alley, but they're all gonna be headed to Escape from Gringotts. But we're not gonna go to Escape from Gringotts. I'm gonna show you something even better. Let's head into Diagon Alley and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Look at this. Look at this. This is the most incredibly themed area of this park, and it is empty right now. This is priceless. This is the ultimate moment to get your family photos. These are going to be the photos you are going to treasure after your trip. So yes, we will get to Escape from Gringotts, and we're going to do it in just a moment. But first, we're gonna get these incredible photos and just enjoy experiencing this area of the park with nobody else in it. So now that that initial rush has headed into Gringotts, this is going to be the perfect moment for us to head into Gringotts, and I'll show you why when we get inside. But first, I want to talk about some key differences between rides here at Universal Orlando and the ones at Disney World. Most of the more thrilling attractions here at Universal Orlando are going to require you to put all of your things in a complimentary locker before you can ride. There are some attractions that are going to make you go through a metal detector, meaning you can't even bring your cell phone into the queue with you. Thankfully, this is not one of those attractions. They're fine with you bringing a cell phone as long as you have a pocket you can comfortably put it into, because they know you're going to want to get some amazing photos from the queue of this attraction. In other rides, mainly outside of the Wizarding World, there are going to be some attractions where you have to put everything away, including your cell phone. The other big difference here at Universal Orlando is we are not allowed to film on any of these attractions. So unfortunately, I can't show you what it's like to ride, but I can show you what the queue is like. So I'll meet you inside.
Here to open an account. Very well. Move along to the security office to have your Gringotts identification photo taken.
Unauthorised persons who try to access a top security vault are sucked in through the door and trapped inside. We check for intruders about once every 10 years.
Take you down to see the vaults. What was that?
The Weasleys wildfire whiz-bangs.
I was about to show you climbs the vault.
Actually, if you don't mind, I'll join you on your tour. We can all leave together. I'll meet you at your cart.
But what are we talking about for? Let's get moving.
Muggles might describe the journey to the vaults as a high-speed roller coaster ride with sudden and dramatic acceleration, climbing, stopping and diving. Even some in the magical community find the ride a bit challenging.
How amazing is that queue? If you're here later in the day, there's no way you're gonna get the shots that we're able to get in there. You may have to let some people go ahead of you, and you can do that in the morning. Probably the first like 30 minutes or so, you can kind of linger in that lobby. Once it gets later in the day though, the team members are gonna ask you to move along because they need to keep the lines flowing. So again, this is one of those special things that you can only do when you're here really early. So let's talk about this attraction. It's kind of like a thrill ride meets a simulator attraction, and for that reason, it does make some people feel a little bit queasy. I would give this attraction 7 out of 10 puking pastils. It definitely might make you feel a little queasy to your stomach, and if you are prone to getting sick on motion simulator rides, you probably want to skip this one. They will let you, however, just go through the queue if you want, and you can get out right before you're going to board the ride. For each of the attractions today, we're going to talk about some data to help you choose when you should do this ride, even if you're not here in the morning. So the average wait for this attraction, and this is the average of wait times all day long, all year long. It is 48 minutes. I want to thank Thrill Data for keeping such amazing records that allows us to give you this kind of information. So go check out their website, thrilldata.com. But based on their actual real world data, 48 minutes is average. So if you see this wait less than 48 minutes, that's probably a good time to do this ride. If it's more than that, maybe you want to wait. The best times to do it tend to be before 10 a.m. or after 6:30, 6:45. Today we had a posted wait time of 15 minutes. We could have certainly saved probably 5-10 minutes of that wait if we had gone straight into the ride, but that experience of Diagon Alley with no one in it is priceless. I will definitely wait an extra 5 or 10 minutes on an attraction to be able to experience that. So right now it is 9:45. The park has been open for 45 minutes, and we're gonna do something a little bit weird. Normally, people don't hop to the other park until much later in the day. However, with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, there's a very magical way that you can hop to the other park. Unfortunately, to do this, you will need a 2-park ticket. So we have annual passes, but any 2 or 3 park ticket will allow you to do this. We're going to head over to King's Cross Station, which is right outside of Diagon Alley, and we're actually going to go ahead and board the Hogwarts Express and head over to Hogsmeade. Quick note about the Hogwarts Express, it's kind of like Rise of the Resistance over at Disney World right now. This attraction goes down a lot. In fact, the 4 days that we've been kind of testing things out here, it has gone down for at least part of the day every single day. So that's one of the reasons I recommend just go ahead and get this done first. You should think of it as an attraction because it is kind of like a show when you go, and there's a different show when you come back. So you kind of want to plan in your day getting to do both directions. And that means you want to avoid the crowd. So if everybody else zigs around 2 o'clock to park hop, we are going to zag. We're going to do it right now. So let's head over to King's Cross Station and board the Hogwarts Express. Well, it looks like we are lucky this morning. Only a posted 10-minute wait, and the attraction seems to be up and running. I always recommend when you come in, get directions from the porter at the entrance for platform 9 3/4. It makes for a fun conversation. Can you point me in the direction of platform 9 3/4?
Platform 9 3/4?
Yeah.
You've been to the bed a little too long.
Aside from the shorter waits, which that's definitely a good reason to do this attraction right now, you can also experience King's Cross Station basically dead right now. So you can get some amazing photos, and there are some great photo ops like Hedwig right here behind me, or I don't know, how about the Hogwarts Express itself? You are allowed to take still photos on this attraction, but they ask you not to record video. So we'll share some photos from our ride, but we won't be recording video while we head over. That was a magical journey from Diagon Alley here to Hogsmeade. While I wouldn't say it's worth waiting hours to ride this, and sometimes the wait time will be over an hour, Express helps a little bit, but it really doesn't help entirely because even with Express Pass, you don't circumvent the entire queue. You really only get across part of it. So it is kind of all about timing. For us, we came up just as a train was about to leave, so it ended up being a pretty long journey. There are 2 table service restaurants in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Here at Hogsmeade, it's the 3 Broomsticks. Over at Diagon Alley, it's going to be the Leaky Cauldron. They both serve pretty much the same menu for breakfast. So for breakfast, it doesn't really matter which one you do, but I actually prefer the lunch and dinner menu that's over at Leaky Cauldron. I like to try to do this one for breakfast and that one for lunch or dinner. If you want to do breakfast either here or over at the Leaky Cauldron, it's really important that you get there by 10:30. That's the cutoff time, and I would recommend be there a little bit earlier than that. Probably the biggest reason I recommend doing breakfast at one of these restaurants is that you kind of get a bonus with your meal, which is you can include a beverage. Beverage does not come with lunch and dinner, only with breakfast. And you can choose as your beverage butterbeer. Unfortunately, they were out of our favorite butterbeer. We love the hot butterbeer, and that one you actually get a full serving, the regular size that you get all day long. But since they were out, we opted for the regular butterbeer. That one does come in a smaller portion when you get it with breakfast. We've done pretty much all the different breakfast options here, and we'll show them to you right now while we're talking about it. But probably my favorite breakfast to do, though, is the traditional English breakfast, just because you're not gonna find this in many places. It's got really delicious potatoes and a croissant that's kind of okay, but the real reason you wanna try it is to taste black pudding. If you've never had black pudding, it's kind of like a sausage that's made with blood. And if that sounds a little off-putting or terrifying to you, I'm with you on that, but I always like to give it a try. So let's try the black pudding. It's got a strong kind of iron flavor. It also has a black pepper flavor. The texture is a little bit different from regular sausage. If you've never had it before, this is one of the rare places that you're gonna find it here in the States. So if you don't like it, there's some other more traditional breakfast meats there as well. Attached to the 3 Broomsticks, you're gonna find the Hogshead Tavern, but we're actually gonna come back to this a little bit later this afternoon. For right now, let's head out and enjoy Hogsmeade. There are 3 shows that happen here in Hogsmeade. 2 only happen during the day, and 1 only happens at night. Actually, the one that happens at night is the projection show on Hogwarts Castle, and it's under refurbishment right now. So we're definitely gonna make time to go see that show at night as if it were running. But for those 2 shows that happen during the day, right now is the ideal time to cross those off of our list. I want to do those now because if we leave and head back to Diagon Alley and we haven't watched those shows, there's a good chance we won't be able to catch them in time when we get back. It's almost time for the first of those shows. They happen every 30 minutes, so if one's at 11 o'clock, the next one will be at 11:30. The 11 o'clock show is just about to start, so let's head over to the stage.
Hundreds of years ago, the Tri-Wizard Tournament was established. This legendary event brings together the 3 largest schools of wizardry to compete.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We represent the Hogwarts School Choir, and we are here to share some music with you.
Do 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 do. Trouble, trouble, screaming trouble, fire day. Trouble, dance like a hippogriff. Can you dance like a hippogriff? La 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 la.
The Hogwarts Choir!
Right now, the attraction lines are going to be getting pretty long, especially for things like Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. So we're going to plan to do those attractions later today. We're going to come back here to Hogsmeade, but first, we're going to head over to Diagon Alley, number 1, because that's where the best shopping is, but number 2, because we want to experience that return journey. The longer that we wait, the longer that wait is going to get. Let's go ahead and jump back on the Hogwarts Express, head back to Diagon Alley, and do a little essential wizard shopping. Man, we got crazy lucky. It is only a posted 10-minute wait. Today the crowds are a little bit lighter than I expected them to be, so that's part of it, but also it's because we're doing this now. Not a lot of people are ready to park hop quite yet, and that's the key to this attraction. You want to do it before the majority of folks are ready to hop parks. As you are breezing through this queue, think about how different this experience would be if this was all filled with people, because that is exactly what happens later in the day, especially on busy days. And for me, while it is nice to experience the train both ways, it is absolutely not worth waiting in a line that goes all the way out there to the exit. That's why it's key to do it right now. are back here in the UK at Universal Studios. I know probably at this point a lot of you are thinking, Rob, this is a lot of crisscrossing. We're going back and forth between one park and the other. For me, Hogwarts Express is like any other attraction. It's not like I'm physically having to walk over to the other park. We'll do that a little bit later. I just think of this as another ride that I'm gonna do in my day, and magically that ride brings me to a brand new place. But since we are thinking of these as attractions, which they are, let's talk a little bit about best times to do them, average wait, and of course, the puking pastel factor. For this, it is a little bit of a simulator. There is a screen that makes it appear that you are moving in a different rate of speed than you actually are moving. So I do know for some people that might be a little unsettling, but I have not heard that from many folks. I would give this 2 puking pastels. I don't think it's gonna be too bad. If it is bad for you though, you just close your eyes or look away from the screen, and then it's just like being on any other train. In terms of wait time for this attraction, here at King's Cross Station, the average wait is about 33 minutes. So if you can catch it at a better wait time than that, that's a great time to do it. If you're wondering when those good wait times might pop up, this one is best to do either before noon or maybe after 6, pretty late in the day. From the Hogsmeade side, that actually has a shorter average wait. It's usually only 22 minutes coming from that side, and the best times to do it are usually before 11 a.m. or after 5:30. Now that we've done the Hogwarts Express going in both directions, we can check that attraction off our list and head back into Diagon Alley. We're gonna do some shopping, we're gonna see some shows, we're gonna have a truly enchanted afternoon. Let's go do it. Before we go shopping, I think we need to get some wizard money, because while the stores here will take regular old muggle money, it's a lot more fun to shop with wizard currency. So if you're like Harry and you have all of your wizard money in a vault, then you could go to Gringotts, to the main bank where we went earlier today, and get it from the vault. But if you're like me and all you have is muggle money, then you're gonna go to a different spot. We're gonna head to the Gringotts Money Exchange and turn our regular old dollars into wizard currency.
Once you have completed your exchange, please leave as efficiently as you can.
Wizard money acquired, even though the goblin was a little bit cranky. I just think that's how goblins are sometimes. In case you've never gotten wizard money before, it comes in denominations of 10s and 20s, and it actually is an exact correlation to US dollars, conveniently enough. So 10 wizard, is it galleons? I guess they're galleons, right? So we'll say 10 galleons or 20 galleons, and that is equivalent to $10 or $20. You can actually use them anywhere in the wizarding world or anywhere in Universal. It's essentially like a gift card. But now I think we are ready to shop. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the very first thing I want when I come to Diagon Alley is to get a wand. But not only do I want to get any old wand, I want to have the whole wand experience. I want to see the wand choose the wizard. And in order to have that experience, we need to head to Ollivanders. There are actually 2 Ollivanders here at Universal Orlando. One is over at Hogsmeade, but I recommend do the Ollivanders that is here in Diagon Alley. That's because this Ollivanders has 3 different wand rooms, whereas that one only has 1. That line will get really backed up, whereas this line tends to move a lot faster. In fact, I've actually never had to wait beyond 1 cycle in this particular Ollivanders. The other things I recommend are to come during non-peak times. During mealtime is good, or first thing in the morning, or you could also do it at the end of the night, but most people want to get a wand earlier in the day, so first thing in the morning or lunchtime is great. Right now is kind of normal lunchtime, so we're gonna head on over and do the experience. It's important to note that not every wizard, unfortunately, gets to have the experience. It's almost always going to be a child, and the child will be chosen at random. If you want to give your child the best chance, you want to come during non-peak time, and they will generally put the children up front, in front of the adults, so that they can see. And they will usually pick a child from that front row of children. So let's head over to Ollivanders and get chosen by our new wand.
To Ollivanders, makers of fire wands, since 382 BC. Now you may know, Indiana, that every Ollivander wand has the core of a powerful magical substance. Most importantly, only a few particular types of wood are of wand quality, and here at Ollivanders, we use only the finest elements in our wands.
At your ladder.
Get over this! Let's try something a little different. Lighten up the room by saying Lumos. Meteorologic's Reconto! That is kind of not your wand.
Well, our wand is acquired. My wand is actually an exact replica of the wand carried by none other than Professor McGonagall. She is my favorite Hogwarts professor and maybe my favorite wizard in all of the wizarding world. I love Professor McGonagall. Her wand is very lovely as well. Unlike most souvenirs you get at theme parks, this one can actually do stuff. This is capable of performing actual magic. But in order to do that magic, you're gonna have to go to some specific places here and over at Hogsmeade. So how are we gonna find those places? Well, we're gonna look in the box that our wand came with, and we're going to find this. So this lovely handy dandy map has the locations of different spells that can be performed both here at Diagon Alley and over at Hogsmeade. Let's go find one of these spell locations and give it a whirl, or rather a swish and a flick. So in order to use your wand, you're going to use the map to find these wand marker icons that are on the ground. On that icon, you'll see the name of the spell, which is what you need to say to perform the spell, along with the wand motion that you need to do. My best tip for using these is don't make big swirling motions. Keep your motion nice and tight, and with any luck, you'll make a little magic. Meteorologic's. We're gonna catch a show right here, The Tales of Beetle the Bard, which is one of my favorite shows in all of Universal. But I wanna get a beverage for the show, so headed over to the Hopping Pot. We actually got a couple of beverages. One is Dragon Scale, which is a unique beer you can only get here at the Wizarding World. It's like a red ale, and it's pretty tasty. That one's actually for Eric. What I'm gonna be having is a frozen butterbeer. So I would say in the hierarchy of butterbeers, my favorite is definitely hot butterbeer. But if I can't have hot butterbeer, frozen is probably number 2, especially on a hot day like today. The topping is like marshmallow fluff mixed with butterscotch, and it is delicious. And speaking of sugary drinks, it's important to know when you're here in the Wizarding World, there's no Coca-Cola, there's no Sprite, there's no soft drinks that you're used to. You're gonna be limited to things like iced teas or pear cider or pumpkin juice, and of course, butterbeer. For the grown wizards, there are, of course, a selection of alcoholic beverages as well, including one of my favorites, which is fire whiskey, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. For right now, let's go grab a spot for the show.
Welcome, gather round. My name is Beckett. We present to you The Tales of Beetle the Bard. We now present to you The Tale of the Three Brothers.
That once 3 brothers who were traveling along a lonely, winding road at twilight. In time, the brothers reached a river too treacherous to pass, but being added the magical arts, they simply waved their wands and made a bridge.
They found that path blocked by a hooded figure. It was death.
Yet soon she turned sad and cold, for she did not belong in the mortal world. Driven mad with hopeless longing, the second brother took his own life so as truly to join her.
And so death took the second brother for his own. He then greeted them as an old friend and went with him gladly, departing this life as equals.
Isn't that a charming little show? I really enjoy that one. However, my favorite show here is the one that's coming up next. It is Molly Weasley's favorite singer, Celestina Warbeck, and her show is awesome. But we got a little bit of time before that show. We still got about 20 minutes before she's gonna take the stage. Right over here near the stage, however, is something else I wanted to show you guys. Not all of the spells you can perform with your magic wand show up on the map. There are, in fact, some secret spells. I'm going to show you one of them right now, but I have to give credit where credit is due. I learned about this secret spell from Molly's video, Molly with Mammoth Club. You may remember her also from All Ears. She has done some incredible Wizarding World videos over at Mammoth Club. There's 2 that are filled with secret things and Easter eggs for you to find. If you're a fan of the Wizarding World and you're planning to visit on your next trip, after this video, you should go check out Molly's. They are really amazing. But for right now, let's go try our wand at that secret spell. We're gonna head over to Scribulus, and inside the window, you're gonna see an open book of parchment that appears to be blank. We're gonna use the spell Apparitio. We're gonna make a backwards M motion, and hopefully we're gonna reveal something on that parchment.
And now, a live performance direct from Diagon Alley, Celestina Warbeck!
Cauldron full of hot strong love, wants to be unfurled. From the marshy bogs of clear ditch, from the sports of fine and fair. Reach back the pleasures, boys, that bubble here. Girls stumble, baby girls, and I'm not one else to fear. Don't be so hard, you thought you were so clever, but if you're a crook, I'm in a way you get away with the things that you took. You saw.
And now it is time to shop till we drop. We're gonna start with my favorite store, Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes. Let's see what tricks and treats are in store for us today. As with everything in the Wizarding world, when you are in Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, you definitely want to look up, because you're going to see Dolores Umbridge up there, the wickedest witch of them all. She's been forced to carry cauldrons for all of eternity. And if you look closely over her head, you'll even see that the ceiling is bewitched to show fireworks all day and night. You can get everything here, from love potions to skiving snack boxes, but you know what I had to get. I had to get the puking pastils, because I've never had a puking pastil, and we're using it as a unit of measure in this video today, so I feel like I need to try one to know what I'm talking about. The wizard at the register said I have to eat the whole thing. If I only eat part of it, I'll just feel nauseous. But I have to eat the whole thing if I want to vomit. Here it is, the puking pastil. It smells kind of like a caramel apple, which isn't too bad, really. You know how when you get a sucker and it's really old and the outside of it becomes kind of gummy and sticky? That's what this is like. But it sort of tastes like a super sweet, sour apple candy. Not my favorite. On the plus side, I don't feel like I want to vomit yet. Sadly, we will never know if I would have puked if I ate the whole thing, because there's no way I can eat that whole thing. I actually couldn't even eat the little piece that I took because it's so sticky. I had to like pry it out from being stuck to my teeth. I think if I tried to eat that whole thing, I would pull out a filling or something. So I have tasted the puking pastel, so you don't have to, and I really don't think you have to. It's maybe a cute prop to bring home to somebody, but I wouldn't recommend eating it. Well, there's still a ton of stores here to go check out, so let's go do a shopping spree around Diagon Alley. Our final stop on our shopping spree is maybe my second favorite after Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes. This is Magical Menagerie. And if you were looking for a rat or a cat or an owl to accompany you on your wizarding adventures, this is where you would find it. Before we go, I want to show you what is probably the coolest little Easter egg that is attached to the Magical Menagerie. So in the side window of Magical Menagerie, kind of around in this alleyway, you're gonna find a snake. But not only is it a snake, this is a magical snake that if you spend enough time with it, you will become a parcel mouth. You'll actually start to understand parcel tongue. Let's go do it. This is the cutest thing ever. So, while I was shopping in Magical Menagerie, I went around to show you guys the snake. Eric got me this snowy owl. Isn't he adorable? He's already trained to stay on your shoulder like this, which is awesome. And he responds to my voice already. It's like magic. At first I was like, it's Hedwig, but I was like, no, this is not Hedwig. Hedwig is Harry's owl. This is a completely different snowy owl. And so I have named him Owlbert. This is Owlbert. You like that name? Are you good with that? Yeah? Okay, good. You know, I thought I felt like a wizard when I got my wand, but no. This is the moment that I feel like a real wizard. I love him so much. I feel really bad though now because we've got this adorable baby owl and I'm about to take it to the creepiest place in all Diagon Alley. Honestly, this place is not fit for baby owls or other little ones. So if you've got some really little ones watching with you, you might want to skip to the time that we're going to put on your screen right now because our next stop is really creepy. We're heading into Nocturn Alley. This alley is actually air conditioned. The whole thing is really chilly in the summertime, which is awesome. Granted, the surroundings are a little bit creepy, but there's also some really fun spells that you can do in here. We're gonna go ahead inside and check out Borgan and Burke's, which is the creepiest store in the wizarding world. But first, I wanna show you my favorite spell to do back here. It's the one you know and love from the movies. I think of it as Hermione's favorite spell because you see Hermione using this thing right and left. Let's go try our hand at Alohomora. Alohomora. And now for the most infamous store here in Diagon Alley. I'm talking, of course, about Borgan and Burke's. And this place is extra creepy. If you're looking for something to curse somebody, I think this is the spot where you're gonna find it. On the walls, you'll find some artifacts from the reign of Dolores Umbridge, the worst headmistress in the history of Hogwarts. But if you see anybody you actually know in here, you just wanna tell them you're looking for flesh-eating slug repellent. Works every time. Believe it or not, after talking about flesh-eating slug repellent and looking at shrunken heads, I'm actually hungry. It means it's time for my favorite table service restaurant in the entire wizarding world. Let's head into the Leaky Cauldron. These two table service restaurants in the wizarding world are incredibly popular, and if you come right at regular meal time, you're gonna find a really long wait for a table. If you come, however, like we're doing it, so this morning we came at the very end of breakfast service, and right now we're kind of coming in between lunch and dinner. It's about 3:30. This is the perfect time to do this restaurant. We did not have to wait at all. We could just come right in and grab a table. They were not taking orders at the register, and that is a pretty common thing. You'll find that a lot here at Universal. And what you'll do when that happens, you'll use the app to place a mobile order. It's really easy to do. Just fire up that Universal app and you're gonna tap on the button that says order food and drinks. It'll actually geolocate you and show you the restaurants that are closest. So if you're in the Leaky Cauldron, that's gonna be your first choice. Tap in there, and from there, it's really straightforward. You just choose what you want to eat. One last little thing I should mention is after you check out, it's gonna ask you to scan your table number. Now on your table, you'll see a number and a scanner. If you tap your phone to that, it almost never works. It looks like it's scanning it, but it doesn't really scan it. What you need to do usually is click on cancel, and then you just type in the table number manually, and then it'll work. As far as the menu goes here, it is really eclectic. There's a lot of different traditional British foods on offer. There are vegan and vegetarian options. I'm actually trying something I've never had before. It's the shepherd's pie, but it's inside of a pastry, and it's made with vegetarian beef crumbles as opposed to regular beef. I know that I love the regular shepherd's pie. It's one of my favorite things, so I figured I would give the vegetarian option a whirl. Eric is getting the bangers and mash, and we also had to get a Scotch egg just because that is a really unique item to get here at Universal, and you can add it as a side to your order. We got so full that Albert decided he needed to take a nap, so we dropped him off at the owlery to snooze for a little bit. But for us, we're gonna head over and get some dessert. They do have dessert, of course, at the Leaky Cauldron, but I wanted to show you guys another really cool place here, and that is Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. It is adorable inside. Before we go get ice cream, though, I think it's time to talk about the 800-pound gorilla on the roof, or maybe it's a dragon. So if you want to catch video of that happening, you've got to do it on the 10s. Every 10 minutes or so, that dragon gets really cranky and he just breathes some fire. Check your watch. If it's about to be 4:10 or 4:20 or 4:30, any of the 10s, as long as it's not too windy, the dragon is going to put on quite a show. But for me, I am craving some dessert. So we're going to head over here to Florian Fortescue's and get some delicious ice cream. My favorite is Earl Grey. I really like the Earl Grey. The clotted cream is good too. They have lots of unique, very English flavors. I think today though, I'm going to try that butterbeer soft serve. Well, my friends, it is now time to bid adieu to Diagon Alley, but I do want to point out just a few last little things that you want to check out before you leave. Number one is the blacksmith shop. Bowman E. Wright Blacksmith is actually the creator, the inventor, if you will, of the Golden Snitch. Also, one of the places we didn't pop into is Fountain of Fair Fortune. That's a great place. If there's a huge line over here at the Hopping Pot, Fountain of Fair Fortune has frozen butterbeer and a lot of the other drinks you might be looking for, and a lot of times people don't even know it's over there, so it has a much shorter wait. Before we return to Hogsmeade though, there are a few last things I want to show you here in the London section outside of Diagon Alley. The first is the wait time right now for Hogwarts Express. That's the reason why we wanted to do the Hogwarts Express earlier. The next thing I want to show you is the telephone booth. Now, this might just look like a regular old photo op, but if you go inside that telephone booth and you dial magic on the little rotary dial, you listen, you'll get a special message that is really fun. Also, look at the street signs and take a look at where you are. You are on Grimmauld Place. And if you recall from the books and the movies, who else lived on Grimmauld Place? The Black family. In fact, you can see the very row house where the Black family lived, where Sirius Black grew up, and if you keep an eye on that window, you might see a famous resident peeking out, keeping an eye on those pesky muggles. And last but certainly not least is probably the signature character meet and greet for the Wizarding World. It's right back here at the night bus. You can meet the night bus driver and you can meet the little shrunken head. He actually carries on conversations with guests here at the park. He's really clever, actually. Both of them are. So I definitely recommend take some time to chat with them and then walk around to the back side of the night bus, because back on the back side, you can actually peek in and see all of the beds and different things that are inside the night bus from the back entrance. Well, now since there's a crazy wait for the train, we're gonna walk over to Hogsmeade and I'm gonna time it for you guys just so you have a good baseline of how long it takes to do a leisurely stroll from Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade. No Hogwarts Express required. Let's go do it. And we are back in Hogsmeade. It actually took about 25 minutes of a leisurely walk to get over here. I'd say if you were really booking it, you could do it in 20, but it took me 25. So while Diagon Alley, the real features are shopping and shows and dining, there's certainly some shopping, there are some shows, and there is some dining over here, but really the star of the show on this side are the rides. You've got Flight of the Hippogriff for the little witches and wizards. That one is kind of like the Wizarding World equivalent of the Barnstormer. It's a kiddie coaster. It's fun though. We'll definitely do it today. Then your next step up from that is going to be Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. This is where you go inside Hogwarts. I love this attraction mainly for the queue. And finally, the Big Kahuna, the major attraction in this park. Honestly, this is the major attraction in all of Universal Orlando. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is amazing. It is mind-blowing. It is so much fun. This is definitely for the older witches and wizards. It's a little bit of a thrill ride. If you're afraid of coasters with a turbo launch, this one might not be for you, but honestly, the story, the theming. It is a beautiful ride, and it is a fun ride, and I look forward to it every time I come. So now let's talk about when we should be doing these attractions, because just like with Escape from Gringotts this morning, there are definitely some preferable times to do them and some ideal wait times to be on the lookout for. Let's start with the little kiddie coaster, Flight of the Hippogriff. That one has an estimated average wait time of 31 minutes. It's probably best to either do that one during early entry or after 6:30 in the afternoon. Next up, let's talk Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That's the Hogwarts Castle attraction. For that one, the average wait is going to be 35 minutes, so you're going to be looking for a wait time that's less than that ideally. The best times to do that one are before 10 in the morning or after 6. And finally, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure has an average wait time of 90 minutes. It is the big kahuna. You're probably going to wait a long time for that ride unless you do it first thing during early entry. And that would be a recommendation. If you have early entry, you should start with Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. But if you don't have early entry or you don't make it over there, there are actually a couple of other times where the ride wait time dips a little bit. One is right after lunchtime, around 12 to 1:30. There's usually a little bit of a surprising dip that happens. It'll go below that 90-minute average. The other is going to be from 6:45 p.m. to close. So the last hours of park time, gradually that wait time will drop down. Now we're going to show you a little bit later in this video how we like to ride that attraction. There's a very specific time we like to get in that line, but I want to talk right now about a magical feature that the app has that is going to help you catch these rides at the best possible time. So what you want to do, fire up that app. Let's go ahead and look at one of the attractions. So let's tap on rides and we'll search for Flight of the Hippogriff. Now you'll notice right now that posted wait time is 35 minutes. That's a little bit more than the 31-minute average, so we probably don't want to ride that just yet. But I can tap on this little icon here and I can set myself an alert for when that ride goes below a specific wait time that I set. So I can choose whatever I want. It's suggesting 25 minutes for this ride, but I'm going to put it at 20. So this way, as we go around Hogsmeade, if that ride goes below 20 minutes, it's going to give me a notification. We can head over and ride it with a shorter wait. So that's exactly what I did. I just set some notifications for Flight of the Hippogriff and for Forbidden Journey. So if those fall below those average wait times into a territory that I really want to ride, then we're going to stop what we're doing and we're going to go do that. But in the meantime, we're going to enjoy ourselves here in Hogsmeade. We're going to do a little bit of shopping, and first, we're going to go grab a beverage at the Hogshead Tavern. Probably the coolest thing in the Hogshead is the actual hog's head that is on the wall of the tavern. So if you keep an eye on him, he will move around every now and again. If he hasn't moved in a little while, you can ask the wizards behind the counter and they'll give him a little tickle and he will move on cue. Some other cool things about this tavern, they have some beers that you can only get in the Wizarding World and one that you can only get here. This is the Hogshead Brew. This beer is only available here and you can get this collector's stein. What I like about this stein is you can bring it back and get it refilled, and it's $1 off the cost of the beer to refill it. So it ends up paying for itself if you come to Universal a lot. The other thing I want to talk about is this. This is fire whiskey. It tastes quite similar to what we Muggles call Fireball, but I'm sure it's a completely different concoction. If you get a hot butter beer and you take it outside of the hogshead. They don't like you to do this inside there because that's called forbidden potion making and it's frowned upon. But if you bring it outside of the hogshead, they're totally fine with it. Take your hot butter beer, add a little bit of the delightful fire whiskey to it, and it gives it a lovely kick. Well, we just got a notification that Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey now has a wait time that is below what we posted, so we're gonna head on over to Hogwarts Castle. One really cool thing you can ask if there are any students or faculty members who are available to give you a tour of Hogwarts. And if it's not too crazy busy and they have some team members available, sometimes a student or faculty member might make themselves available and give you a tour.
Of course, most guests see the statue of the One-Eyed Witch in the mirror they are said here.
These mandrakes, they were more lively, right? Yeah.
They would pop up out of the soil, they would wiggle, and they would scream.
Wow.
And the issue becomes pretty obvious if you were a guest waiting in this section of the queue for about 45 minutes with these things screaming in your ear. You get irritated pretty fast.
So you guys decided to get some sleepier mandrakes to plan here.
We potted them all back up. They're happier that way anyways.
Yeah. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Squilliam. I love that name, by the way. Squilliam took us everywhere. So there were certain sections of the queue that were closed off because, well, there weren't enough people to fill up those areas of the queue, and we got to go all over. That was such a treat. They can really only do something like that when the park is quieter than normal. Today is a little bit quiet, so they were able to spare Squilliam to give us that tour. My favorite thing is that in the Gryffindor common room, there's a painting hanging, and that painting is of a young Professor McGonagall. I had no idea. Another cool, fun thing is when you're in Dumbledore's office, there's a book that Dumbledore keeps searching for. And the reason he can never find it is because that book is always moving places. It's always scurrying about. And if you keep your eyes peeled, you can actually see it sliding from one spot to another. The ride is pretty cool though. You're essentially at the end of this mechanical arm that's whipping you all around, and there are these screens all around you. So it's very much a motion simulator ride that is mixed with some pretty herky-jerky motion. If you're a big Harry Potter fan, you should definitely do this attraction if your stomach can handle it. This ride is definitely 10 out of 10 puking pastels. While there may be rides in Universal that maybe make you a little bit more sick than this one, here at the Wizarding World, this is the tops. This one gets me almost every time. And now it's time for our penultimate ride. We're gonna do Flight of the Hippogriff. It's got a posted weight of 25. I am cautiously optimistic it's gonna be even less than that, but we're about to find out. The vehicle itself is very cool. It's like a wicker hippogriff, and probably the best thing about it I will be able to show you when we're in that queue. There is an animatronic Buckbeak that is amazing. So let's head inside and I'll show you that animatronic, and we'll see how long it takes to ride this ride. How cool is that Buckbeak animatronic? He's so beautiful. I don't know if you noticed this, but every time a train goes by, Buckbeak bows to the train to be respectful, just like he does when he's with Hagrid. As we went by, I bowed to Buckbeak and he bowed back. Posted weight 25 minutes, actual weight only 19 minutes, and it was a very quick 19 minutes actually. I also want to revise my rating of this ride. It's a little bit more thrilling than I remember it being. I would say it is not to the thrill level of Big Thunder Mountain, but it is above I would say Barnstormer. So if you've got little ones who are comfortable with Barnstormer, this is probably going to be a step up. But In terms of the puking pastel meter, this is a 1. There's no simulated motion. It's a pretty standard issue, if adventurous kiddie coaster. I think as long as you're fine with general coaster rides, you're going to be fine with this one. So we only have one ride left. It is the big one, and we're actually going to be doing it at the perfect time. What we're going to do right now, we got a few more stores to check out. We're going to check out Dervish and Bangs. We're going to check out the Owl Post, where you can actually send a post by Owl. You can purchase some postcards there or bring your own and fill them out and put on your postage, and it will be delivered by a Hogwarts owl, presumably to the post office if you're sending it to a muggle. But, you know, if you're sending it to a wizard, I imagine the owl would just take it there directly. I always love to make Honeydukes my last stop because I'm kind of addicted to the chocolate frogs. As Ron would say, it's the wizard card that you really want. So the chocolate frogs are pretty good too, though. I like to do that last. That way the chocolate frog doesn't melt while I'm out here in the Orlando heat. But that's not the very last thing we're going to do today. Of course, the last thing we're going to be doing is riding Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. It is my favorite ride in this entire park, and I am so excited to do it. Before we hop on, though, I want to share with you some tips about riding that particular attraction. If you've got more days, if this is not your last day in the Wizarding World, what I recommend doing is doing what we're going to do in this video. We're going to do it as the very last thing right before the park closes. However, if you don't have another day ahead of you, you might not want to use that strategy. The reason is because if the ride is down, then you're not going to get to ride it. So if this is a must-do for you, and it should be, and this is your only day here to do it, you probably want to do this ride earlier. Just look for any time when the wait is below 90 minutes. Ideally, you're looking for 70, 60 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. But if you're in a situation like us, where you're okay rolling the dice, I love to do this as the last ride because number one, that's usually where you're going to get the shortest wait. Number two, you're not using any of your valuable park time in that wait. So we're going to get in the line right before the park closes, and they're going to let us stay in the line as long as it takes to ride that attraction. And since this is our final ride of the night, that also means we've got to give you our final reading on the puking pastel meter for Hagrid's. This one actually isn't too bad. If you've ridden Expedition Everest over at Disney, the only thing that might make folks a little bit upset in their tummy is you do go backwards for a little bit, like over at Everest. But if you're good with that, in all other respects, it's a pretty traditional coaster. I'm gonna give it 3 puking pastels, just because there is that backward section that can maybe trip some people up, but it's probably not going to be bad for most folks. Unfortunately, I can't take you on the ride with me, but I can show you that gorgeous queue. It is really beautiful and detailed. There's so many fun things to check out. And after we do that, I'm going to meet you for one last secret here at the Wizarding World. It's actually over at the bathrooms, believe it or not. So let's go do Hagrid's, and then we'll meet up at the bathroom. this has been a truly magical day here at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and you're probably wondering, Rob, why are we ending this magical day at the restrooms? Because that's what's behind me, the public conveniences. I didn't have a moment to work this into the video earlier, and I can't not mention this last little tidbit about the Wizarding World. If you're like me and you love the character of Moaning Myrtle, I have some great news for you. She is no longer in the girls' bathroom at Hogwarts. She has moved, she has upgraded, and she is now haunting the bathrooms here at Hogsmeade. So if you'd like to go say hello to your old friend Moaning Myrtle, this is where you're gonna find her. I know, this is an odd way to end the video, but I had a couple of ideas and I went with number 2. Ooh, that was a bad one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this very first ever video from Universal Orlando. If you want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments down below. I want to give a huge thank you to our Patreon family. Thank you all so much for making videos like this possible. If you'd like to join them and get access to exclusive bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/earscouts. And I also want to thank all of you. If you found this video helpful, help us out by giving it a like, subscribing to our channel, and ringing that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever new videos like this come out. Until next time, don't forget to think happy thoughts, everybody. We'll see you again real soon.